Hi, Kim Dodsworth, Queensland storyteller. Let me tell you about one of the great joys of presenting this program week in, week out for 14 years. It's this. From time to time, I make contact with writers whose stories I've accepted in the past and read on air. And there's been a lot of them. Often, I make the contact just to touch base, but I must admit that I usually have a secret agenda. Namely, I hope they'll send me a new story. There, my secret's out and my cover is blown. I've gleaned a few stories in this way, but I've also been very honoured and humbled by the kind comments I've received about our 4RPH program, Queensland Storyteller. One of my very recent contacts has been Grant Locke and his wife Jana of Adelaide. Their story is truly inspiring. 7 years ago, back in 2011, I first met them when I received and read on air a story which Grant had kindly adapted for me from his then newly published book titled Shoot Me First. Now that's an alarming title if ever I heard one. But its choice became clear to me when I learned that Grant and Jana were newly returned from Afghanistan and Pakistan, two of the most dangerous places in the world, where at great personal risk they'd been involved in Christian volunteer work. Grant told me that he and Jana had worked there for 24 years, but were finally forced to return to Australia because of Grant's affliction with a genetic form of macular degeneration. Ironically, Grant, amongst many other things, had been the support director for a huge eye care program in Afghanistan. A few weeks ago, I began to wonder how Grant and Jana had settled back in Australia after their lifetime of dedicated service in trouble spots overseas. Surely, I thought, a well-earned retirement in safe and comfortable surroundings in Adelaide was indicated and thoroughly deserved. I should have known better, given my foreknowledge of this brave couple. Here are the highlights of our recent contact. Because of sight deterioration, Grant can no longer read. However, despite this, he has published yet another book, titled I'd Rather Be Blind. Grant can certainly pick attention-grabbing titles, can't he? Now, as a result, he's receiving numerous speaking engagements, about half Christian and half secular, he tells me. At these gatherings, he's turning increasingly to reciting his poetry, as he finds this a powerful medium for his work. I really look forward to hearing this at some future date. His first book, Shoot Me First, has been adopted as required reading for the top 10-year English class at Pacific Hills High School, Sydney. Let me quote Grant. The school flew us over from Adelaide last year and set us loose on a heap of high schoolers and staff. How good is that? Well, my answer to your question, Grant and Jana, is far better than just good. Try sensational. But wait, there's more. Grant's most recent contact with me was just last month on the 27th of August, and I quote him. In 3 weeks, Jana and I head back to Afghanistan to take up an invitation to do leadership training for about 60 up-and-coming Afghan leaders in 2 cities, about a quarter of whom are females. Again, I repeat, sensational news, Grant and Jana. Travel there safely and return to us in the same way soon. It's an honour to know you both. Details of how to purchase Grant's 2 books, Shoot Me First and I'd Rather Be Blind, can be Googled under his name, Grant Locke. I strongly commend them both to you. The following very short story by Grant was written in Australia and is called The Squatters. It's based on actual events. The story demonstrates Grant's very real mastery of the short story medium. Listen carefully. It has a surprise ending. The Squatters. Just when I thought the eastern suburbs of Adelaide were safe, someone torched a car just up the road, and then the squatters arrived. They all carried personal weapons and were well organised. At 2:15 p.m. in broad daylight, they took over the small house next to our McGill home. Jana heard them coming. In no time, they were through the front entrance and inside. It's not right. She peers through the front window. They can't just take over a place like that, even if it is empty. Can't you do something, Grant? I've always been slower than my irrepressible wife in weighing things up. I am upset, but she's fuming. But what can I do? We're outnumbered, and I can see they have guards out the front. We could get hurt. I wish it hadn't been left empty for so long, is all I can say. Yes, our nearest neighbours left at the start of summer, and we don't expect them back till August. Gianna is deeply offended by the blatant intrusion, and she's not giving up on me. You have to do something, Grant. It looks like they plan to stay. I join her at the window. Well, what do you suggest? I can't go out there. There's too many of them. Can't you call someone? But Gianna, the police wouldn't come. I know exactly what they'd say. Sorry, sir, we can't get involved yet. We suggest you first ring the council. In that case, why don't you get on the phone, Grant? I finally get through. A sweet-voiced girl answers. Is the house on Campbelltown City Council land? Well, no, but sorry, sir. If it's a private home, we can't get involved. We can't get involved. I parrot off in my mind. That's the mantra of our inward-looking individualistic society. The widow gets mugged in public, the girl gets mauled on the bus, but nothing happens because we don't want to get involved. Do unto others becomes don't do anything. The council girl is still on the phone. We're really sorry, sir. However, there is one thing we can do. We can provide the name of someone who will come and evict them. For a fee, of course. Yana is still peering through the window, like an over-anxious meerkat on a caffeine overload. Her do something glances are starting to energize my persona. Look, I say to Miss Sweetlips, I don't live in the house. I just want to do something so it's empty when the neighbours come back. But if it involves money, I know they haven't got any, but maybe I could help. Hold on, sir. There's another number here. Apparently, this man will do it for free. Seems he does it for a hobby. He evicts unwanted tenants for a hobby, I'm thinking, and for free. I'm not sure I want to meet this tough guy, not sure about his values and his methods. I take the number, but I've already decided what I'm going to do for our absentee neighbours. I've become really fond of them and their kids, despite the fact that they use a language I don't understand. It's a sing-song sort of dialect, nothing like the Urdu we spoke in Pakistan or the Dari we learned in Afghanistan. We're mostly traditional European Australians in this part of suburbia, and these guys have brought some colour and interest to the street. Yes, we all need a bit of structure, but too much of the familiar and commonplace can drown you in the mundane quicksand of urban ordinariness. That all went out of the window when the noisy neighbours came last September. We made them welcome and offered them a drink when they turned up. They appreciated that. We could have helped them shift in, but they're an independent lot and like to do things their own way. When you don't understand their language and they don't have any English, it makes things hard. I wanted to ask them a heap of questions. Where do you come from? Was it hard getting here? What about the rest of your family? We first saw them when they were checking the place out. It's timber framed, small, and a bit drafty, but they seem to be happy with it. About the time I thought they were really settled in, they and their kids suddenly up and left. Sad, really. We were just getting to know them. Some other locals who seem to know more about them than we do said they'd be back before August, so we keep looking out for them. And now we have this unexpected invasion by a bunch that looks like they'll be very unpleasant neighbours, the kind you wouldn't want to tangle with. It's not good, but I have an idea. I'll get them moving before they get too comfortable. Jana notices the fresh resolution on my face. She follows me to the shed. What are you going to do, Grant? I might be slow at getting mobilized, but when I get motivated, I get motivated. I'm going to make a bomb. We have to show them that they're not wanted around here. Behind her new rimless glasses, her brown eyes are like saucers. No, Grant, please, not a bomb. I guess it's because of the explosions during our years in Afghanistan. You never knew when a bomb would go off next. The Taliban are very clever at that sort of thing. And back in Pakistan, they bombed the church when everyone was praying. Some of our friends lost their lives and others their hearing. No, it's not a real bomb, Yana. I fossick through the rag and fertilizer cupboard. It's just a smoke bomb. I'll set it up tonight when they're sleeping. Her jaw returns to a more normal position. You'd better watch out, or you'll set the place on fire. Well, they might think it's the best of times, free housing and all, and I smirk. But when they get a whiff of this, it'll be the worst of times. I reach for the kerosene bottle. I've done this before, you know. Do you have any cooking oil? That'll make lots of smelly smoke. Yes, but hey, stop worrying. I'll fix it so that it won't start a fire. Look, Grant, I don't like that nasty punch any more than you do. Go ahead and smoke them out. But if it's full of soot and smoky smells, will it ever be habitable again? I hope so. I just love the cheerful chatter and the colour of those eastern rosellas. I look up from scratching around in the drawer for a box of matches. But one thing is absolutely sure. There's no way they'll come back to our birdhouse if those confounded bees become permanent squatters. Well, that's what I call a great short story. Did you guess the ending? I certainly didn't realize it until the very end that it was parrots and bees and not people that were the protagonists of Grant's story. I hope you can tune in again next week, same time, same station, 4APH, when I'll bring you another short story of quality, and in the not-too-distant future, another pen portrait of one of our wonderful contributors.